out the other day to check my first calf heifers. I bought 5 from my neighbor last year, and his cattle have a little bit of a questionable genetics. They're a little bit wild, and I knew that going in. I bought these heifers, and 4 out of the 5 had already calved, and boy, I was pretty happy about that because, you know, no problem at all, and I got new calves out of them, and you know, that'll increase our bottom line, make things go better. So pretty happy. Well, we got to the 5th one, and whenever I got over there to check, sure enough, she was starting to labor. So I decided I would hang out over there for a while and just kind of keep tabs on her and see, you know, if she was going to need any help. So I waited a little while and kind of did an inventory while I was waiting and made sure I had everything I needed. There was no catch pen or no calving facilities on that place, in that pasture. And so I thought, well, let's see what I've got. I've got my calf jack, I've got my OB chains, I got my rope, got a pigging string, and I got the feed truck. Should have everything I need. Well, I wait a while, and sure enough, she does need assistance. She's gone long enough. She's got calf feet sticking out, but she's not getting any farther than that, and I don't want to lose my calf, so I decide I'll help her. Well, I get close to her, and she's laying down. She's laboring pretty hard, so I ease up there with my rope, and I think I'll just kind of lay it on her head and try not to spook her, you know, and snub her off to a tree. She was laying next to some trees, and you know, have her there so that I can work on her and get the calf out. Well, I'm not much of a hand with the rope. I really admire guys that are, but I'm just not. You know, I've headed cattle off this horse. He's a nice rope horse. I've healed off of him, and I've roped calves, babies, when we're working them. And I've done a lot of fishing, probably more fishing than anything else. But this guy, he got so frustrated with me one day. I took about 10 throws toward a little calf, couldn't hit him any time. He goes up, bites the calf, tries to hold it still so that I can drop my rope down here and put it on the calf's neck. You know, that was a little embarrassing because I had people around watching me, and you know, that's just not cool. But anyway, I get up close to this cow, and she jumps up and takes off. You know, the wild genetics kick in, and she's like, no, I ain't hanging around there. So I followed her around for a little bit. Well, she goes out in the middle of the field this time and lays down where there's no trees around. And I'm thinking, I can't hold her. She weighs 1,200 pounds. So I decided to follow her around a little bit more when she got back up, and she went into pretty thick wooded area. So I thought, hey. So I got my loop. I got up there. You know, I had a decent sized loop built up on my rope, and I'm following her in this wooded area, and she hits a pretty thick spot, and she kind of turns back and looks at me, and when she does, I just took one swing through that rope up there, and to my surprise and hers, both, it went on. Well, I've got a 35-foot rope, and she took off like her tail was on fire going out of that timber, and I'm trying to get the end of this rope wrapped around the tree while the coils are coming out of my hand, and pretty soon I hear the zzz, and she's gone, so I let go. Well, she goes back out into the middle of the cows, running from this rope that's hanging on her neck, and it scares the rest of the cows off, so they're all running. And I'm thinking, you know, okay, what do I do now? Here I got a 1,200-pound cow in a 40-acre pasture, and she got a rope stuck on her neck, and I don't have any way of getting a hold of it. I didn't have the horse over there. I'm 4 or 5 miles from the house, no trailer on, no way to really get the horse and dally off like we normally would. So I decided, hey, I'll just follow her around with the truck and get close enough to her when she's dragging this rope. I can run my tire over the tail of that rope, and that'll stop her. Well, I'm driving around in a pasture that's got gopher holes in it, so it's really rough, and a rough riding feed truck anyway, with my head sticking out the window, trying to see the tire so that I can line up and run the tire over the rope. 3 times I hit the tire, didn't get stopped fast enough. So finally, the 3rd time, got the tire stopped on the rope, stopped the cow. So she takes off around the truck, across the back, and onto the driver's side, and stops. And I thought, hey, this is it. So I jump out, grab my OB chains, get up close to her. I'm going to try to put them on the calf's feet. Nope, nothing does. She takes off, runs back around, then she's got the whole 35 foot of slack again. So I hazed her back, wrapped the rope around the hitch, and that eventually cut the rope in half, or the length in half that she had. So she goes to gets her foot in it somehow, so she's got her foot up over this rope with the rope on her neck. She goes bucking toward the passenger door, and she's going 9-0, and I'm thinking, man, she's gonna cream that door. But I just stood there, you know, what can you do? She's headed that way, so I stopped and kind of closed my eyes. I didn't hear anything, so I opened them up, and she looked, and she just stopped right there by the door. And a few of the other cows come up around her, well, that calmed her down. So I tried again. I go up behind her, get the OB changed. Sure enough, this time she lets me put them on. So I got them on the calf's feet, got them properly, you know, above and below the ankle like you're supposed to put them so you don't damage the calf. Got the calf jack, pulled it up there, hooked the chains up to it, and I'm committed now, so I start jacking, put a little pressure on there. All of a sudden she squats down and starts helping me labor, and you know, less than 30 seconds I got the calf out of her and the chains off. And then I got this calf standing there, you know, a 1,200 pound calf. She's standing there with a rope around her neck, pulled tight, and I'm thinking, how am I going to get that off of there? You can't just reach up and go like this, because it's tight. So I take my knife out, cut my rope in half, and it snaps off of her neck, and she takes off. And so then I had to go haze her back and get her over to the calf. So she starts cleaning the calf, licking it off, and she lets it nurse, and you know, the calf gets up and he's fine, so we saved the calf. Everything was good there. And you know, I bet you're thinking, wonder what he's going to do next time, you know, if he has another problem. And I'm thinking, well, I've already solved that. You know, I broke my 35 foot rope, or I cut it in half. This one is a 53. I'm thinking I can go to a tree with this dude and try it all over again. And that's Cowboy Logic at its best.